In this video, I'm going to show you how to turn an oversized long sleeve into a ballet-inspired shrug. For this project, you're going to need elastic, thread, scissors, pins, and measuring tape. I'm going to start by placing the shirt inside out on my mannequin to take the shirt in. You can also easily do this pinning on yourself if you don't have a mannequin. I'm just pinning along the side seam and underneath the arms. And then I'm going to use my measuring tape to make sure that I pin the other side to be the same. I'm also going to take my shirt in at the back to give it even more of a tighter fit. These steps are only necessary if you're working with a baggier shirt. I'm then going to go and sew with a zigzag stitch along every seam that I just pinned. I'm using a zigzag stitch because, like with all t-shirts, there's stretch to the fabric. I'm then going to trim away all the excess fabric. If you find that your fabric is fraying, you can also do a zigzag stitch on the outside of the fabric to make sure that you lock in those seams. Now you're ready to cut the length that you'd like for your shrug, keeping in mind it's going to be 1 centimeter shorter because of our seam allowance. Then you're going to cut straight down the middle of the shirt, opening it up. Now I'm going to place pins on what I'd like the shape of the shrug to be, just so I can visualize it before I actually cut. Keeping in mind again the 1 centimeter seam allowance, we can now cut along where we placed our pins. I decided to shorten mine a little bit more in the back as well. In my case, you can still see the collar of the previous shirt, but that won't be a problem at all. We're now going to measure out our piece of elastic. The elastic is going to wrap around the entire raw edge of the shrug, and I'm going to give it a slight tug because I want it to be a little more fitted. Make sure you're leaving also 1 centimeter on each side so it's enough elastic to cross over. Now flip your shrug right side out. We're going to find the middle of our elastic and pin it at the bottom of our garment. We're pinning this on the right side of the fabric, and if your elastic has a detail, we want the detail facing away from the hem. Not all elastics have a right side, but if yours does, we want the right side facing the right side of the fabric. Then you're going to overlap your elastic at the top of the garment and pin it down. Pinning it down now will just help make sure that everything's even when you sew. So we're going to do our first zigzag stitch on the elastic, again with right sides together. So we're actually sewing on the right side of the fabric. You're just going to tug the elastic slightly as you're sewing so that it reaches all the way around the fabric. And as you can see here, I'm cutting off some of the neckline to ensure that the elastic is laying in a nice curve. And then here I'm just overlapping the elastic, and then I'm going to continue sewing all the way around. With that first stitch done, you're just going to trim away any of the extra fabric that's poking out from underneath the elastic. You don't want any of the fabric poking through. Then we're going to fold the elastic over and do our second zigzag stitch, again sewing on the right side of the fabric. Slightly tugging on the elastic as you sew. And then you're going to trim away all the excess threads, and you're all done. Thank you so much for watching, and if you liked this video, please subscribe.